Leapin' Lippin' Wing-a-Ding-Dong here. Here I am in Minecraft, one of my other favorite games to play. And today I thought we'd chat about on how the death of manual-driven vehicles is a sad, sad death. When I started to drive, I was taught on a manual transmission. In fact, the very first manual transmission I ever drove was on a 85 Chevrolet K10 that my father had built. Custom built from a GMC four-door dually that, well, I think the engine was shot in it. The K10 had the 6.2 Detroit in it. I think I was, how old was I? 10 when I first started. Of course, it was a farm truck, and I was on a farm, so, you know, nothing was illegal about it. They didn't ever take it out on the road or anything. But he taught me, my father that is, how to drive a stick shift. Now, driving the stick shift, many people today, unfortunately, think it's kind of uncouth to drive a manual. But there's many, many, many people out there who are very upset that manual is pretty much dead. And you know what? I agree with them. Because manuals, yes, gee, I mentioned manuals and they all come to haunt me. Even Minecraft don't like manuals. What was I gonna say? Bugger. Manuals. Yeah. Manuals, at least in my opinion. Oh no, many, many people, there we go. Okay, it's back. Alright. Some timers. Many, many people like manual driving. And it really is fun. If you never tried it, I highly encourage you to try it. Even in a used vehicle, take it for a test drive or something like that, you know. But seriously, try it. It is fun. And I think the reason why manuals are disappearing is due to maybe more economical transmissions, automatic transmissions coming out. Because at one time, manual transmissions were the most economical transmissions you could get. But now, you got these 10-speed CVT type transmissions. I think that's what... Is that what Honda uses? I think they do. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But these automatics, they just get better fuel mileage. And which is great. It's wonderful. But it takes the joy out of being one with the vehicle. Okay? If you have a manual transmission, which many of you may have driven, you are in reality one with the vehicle. You are conjoined together in holy matrimony of parts and machines and gears. And it's a marriage that is worth saving worth loving and worth having fun in. Now, the type of transmissions that I'm used to, they're not the sport type of transmissions. No. These are the type of transmissions that are made for torque duty, heavy pulling, heavy loads, stuff like that. When I was 15, my father, of course, like I said, back on the farm, or even now the country roads at this point, my father would let me drive his Ford 9000 dump truck. And that was a manual driven vehicle. I don't think he no longer has it. Maybe if he does have it, it's... No, I think he got rid of it. I don't know, I'll have to ask him. Report back to you guys on it. But I drove that because, well, he wanted me to train on it. So maybe I could help him on some his rock sites or whatever. I never did get the full gears, I guess I should say, lesson, but I did get 1 through 5. Now, the rest of the gears I kind of learned on my own. That's just how I was. I'm a self-teaching type of person. I can't be taught. It's just, you can sit down, you can explain to me about subjects until the cow comes home, but I am not going to retain it unless I do it myself. Just like on a manual transmission. And I think another thing that's being lost in car... Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it is being kept alive in car culture. Is, well... backyard mechanics. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of cars today are coming out that really you cannot work on unless you had some kind of expertise schooling on it. Now, of course, that's how technology goes. We all know this. We all seen it. But still kind of a lost deal, if you ask me, because... Okay, I'm hearing... Is there water down here? You guys think there's water down here? Going all the way to the ether, ain't I? This'll work. That's good enough. A lot of these vehicles are coming out now that you cannot just put a wrench to it. You have to have them yeah. Remember, no child left behind act. God, I am tired. Okay. There we go. That's good. A lot of these vehicles are coming out so you really can't work on them. However, this is where I think the youth, yes, that was a fart, the youth can really come into play with vehicle knowledge. Seriously, guys, if you're young, you know, let's just say you're at Oh, out of high school. How's that? And you want to get into something, but you really don't know what? Try getting into a trade job like automotive repair, or, but you know, if you want to go to be a doctor, do that too. You know, don't let me stop you. If you're a doctor, there's always people that needs to be healed. If you're a car mechanic, there's always cars that need to be worked on, because they're not going away anytime soon. Become a computer technician, because there's many computers out there that will need to be worked on. I encourage all that. Get out there. Go make your mark on the world. Let's see. I think I'm just going to call this Let's Chat About Random Things. That's kind of how it's going, isn't it? That's okay. Chatting is good for us. Let's see, what can I chat about next? Oh, I know. One topic I love to talk about is the 90s. And it's just not because of nostalgia, but the 90s was well, when I guess you should say, came to age, grew up in. Okay, I won't talk about the 90s. No, I'm kidding, I'll talk about it. I was born in the late 80s, grew up in the 90s. And let me tell you guys, the 90s was as great as they say it was. The economy was booming. In fact, it has been the best American economy in American history. Was the 90s, not the 80s, not the 70s. That'll work. Not the 60s, not the 50s, not the greatest generation, not before World War II. During the 1990s. Wow. We had some of them. Oh, it was wild time. In the 90s, technology was starting to boom. Everybody knew what a computer was, but not a whole lot of people owned a desktop at that time because, yes, even though the economy was great, computers, woo, they were not cheap. No, 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 no. No, very expensive compared to today's computers. We had things like Windows 95. Windows 3.1. In fact, that was my first computer. Leapin' Leppin' talks during a thunderstorm. ASMR. It was actually my first computer. My first computer was a Windows 3.1. And it was a good computer. I used it a lot. I played older video games on it because I couldn't really play newer games at that time. I wanted to play Lego Island on it, but I couldn't because it was Windows 3.1 and Lego Island was optimized for Windows 95. So, yeah. But there's something that came very prominent during the 1990s, and that is how you are watching this video today. The internet. Not YouTube. YouTube came out in 2006. The internet. Yes. The internet. A wonderful place to really learn and enjoy. A place where learning... And really, actually, to be honest with you, even, yes, in the 90s, a lot of people, I kid you not, A lot of people thought that the internet was just a fad. That's all it was. It was only going to be, it's just a fad. It'll be over just like the Beanie Babies fad or the pet rock phase or fad. I mean, or it's just trendy right now. It's just trendy. It's never going to be affordable. It's never going to be widespread use. And you may be laughing, but this is the truth, guys. They thought the internet was never, ever going to be useful, popular, or anything like that. Now, why do you think they thought of this? They thought this. Well, in their minds, they've seen all type of fads before, like bell-bottom jeans and disco, whoop whoop, and pet rocks. But then something happened that changed everybody's minds about the internet. But before that actually changed people's minds, the internet financial viability crashed in the early 2000s as the dot-com bubble bursted. When that happened, people all of a sudden took the internet seriously because, well, it kind of led to a little tiny recession. And of course, after a little bubble burst, or should I say a big bubble, high recession, the big bubble for that time happened, and then 9/11 happened. And this is really, truthfully, this is when the internet really started to kick in. Was early 2001, maybe even mid 2001. But on 9/11, the internet was a place to go to get information, especially around the New York City region, due to the fact that on the what was it? Was it the North Tower of World Trade Center 1, I think? They had television transmitters up there for New York's TV stations. And of course, when the tower collapsed, there went their TV stations. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't... No, they didn't lose them beforehand. They lost them after the tower fell. Yeah, I think that's what happened. No, or was it the South Tower that had the... Anyway, correct me in the comments. Anyway, one of the towers in the World Trade Center went down. They lost communications via television. However, the internet was still up and going. And that's how people got information on 9/11. TV was still viable at that time, don't get me wrong. But the internet helped. The internet helped. And then the early 2000s happened. It was like when a lot of people say, well, in the early 2000s, the 90s didn't want to die. Right. We didn't want the 90s to die because of what happened on 9/11. We wanted the 90s to stay because it was a joyous, fun time. And we don't want to remember the early 2000s, but, we have, as the time period when everything changed. Seriously, if you guys are watching this and you're younger than... Ooh. ...24, I'm going to say. If you're younger than 24, the world changed. America changed. I'm not going to say for the better. I'm not going to say for the worse. It changed. You know how you have to set at airport lines and, you know, TSA and all that? That happened after 9/11. And many of you guys are going to say, well, I mean, we've always had the TSA. No. No, I can tell you a story here. Of a time when I was little. And we took a friend to Lambert Airport, there in St. Louis. And he had to get on a flight and head to his home. Or he moved out to Washington State. He's passed away now. God rest his soul. And he flew out to Washington State on a American Airlines. I think they serviced that region at that time. Anyway, I got to go inside the plane and sit around because I was a curious kid. I mean, that's just who I was. I was curious. You know, I loved planes, and I was like, whoa! You know, this was, what, 95? Yeah, I would have been 7 at that point. So, I was like, whoa, plane! Look at what these buttons do and all that. And then I asked one of the stewards, one of the plane people, if I could go up where the pilots flew the plane, aka the cockpit. And I got to. I got to go into the cockpit of a I think it was I want to say a Boeing 737, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I got into the cockpit of an airliner, and I can still remember it to this day. The gadget, all the screens, all the buttons, and you know, he actually let me sit there and move the wheel back and forth, which would be your tail and your ailerons, I think. No, he let me move the ailerons and the tail. Oh wow! I mean, it was so cool. And he gave me pilot wings. For their little kid pilot wings, but they were still kind of cool. You know, but that was, you know, that's what our world was like before 9/11. That's just how it was. You could go up into a cockpit, you know, if you're a little kid, and look at all the little, everything. It's just, it was magical. That's the only way I can say it. It was magical. But now, they no longer allow that. And I think it's unfortunate for children. Because if children could get up into a cockpit of an airliner, okay, that may encourage them to become pilots. It may encourage them to become plane designers. It may encourage them to want to get maybe Microsoft Flight Simulator. You know, you never know. You never know. And yes, Microsoft Flight Simulator was a thing in the 90s. Although it's not as advanced as it is now. But it was still pretty dang cool. The graphics were awesome for the time period. Now we laugh at them, but they were cool. Anyway, this has been Leapin' Leppin' Wing-a-Ding-Dong. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you so choose. And of course, when you do subscribe, I need you to ring that bell whenever I upload a new video. Leapin' Leppin'. I'm out of here. You guys stay safe. Alright. Been excited about this.